Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Hillstalk. I'm your host, Alan Jameer. We have a powerful guest today on the show and that I'm excited to talk to. So whether you're tuning in from Dallas, Dimapur, or Delhi, sit back, get comfy, and let's get to it. Shen,
Yes,
how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You seem a little nervous.
I'm kind of nervous.
You're kind of nervous? Let's take a deep breath. Let it take it out. You feel better?
Yeah, kind of.
I feel like you just lied right at me. Oh, okay, Shen, let's start right from the beginning.
Okay.
So if you can tell some of the audience maybe where you're from, a little bit about your background, what village, what tribe?
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Luvishin Yomezu, but I'm more well known as Shen. I belong to Angami community, and my hometown is in Medzipema, but I'm originally from Rosama village.
Okay, shout out to the Angami tribe out there. Woof woof. And if I could say something in your language, one phrase that I need to learn, what would that be?
Well, maybe you can try Tisoviwe.
Tisoviwe.
Yes, exactly. So that's good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Okay, so if you're watching back home in Nagaland, Tisoviwe. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Are you lying?
No.
Shit, I feel like you're one of those people. You're so nice. You would never tell me the truth. Like if I was really bad, you'd be like, "No, you're doing so good." Really? 1 out of 10. How do I say it again?
Tisoviwe.
Tisoviwe.
Yeah, I think I'll give you 10.
Now, guys, this is how you know. Oh, so back home, right?
Yeah.
And you told us about your tribe, and then your village. What kind of inspired you to first come here, or maybe like take the leap? Was it maybe a family or a friend or someone you knew?
Well, I never had like such dream to come to US, but it was, God really taught me through life experiences. Like it was really hard for me. And when I started to seek God, more closer every day, it was just God opening the door for me, and I wanted to pursue my higher degrees. So with that in mind, I decided that, I'll just pray for my further studies. Then I was just looking for colleges, seminaries, and I was so specific in my degree because I really wanted to go for THM in Children and Family Ministry. And I was searching for seminaries, but they offer only Christian education. So I was a little specific, and I kept praying. And when I just browsed from Google Internet that Southwestern Seminary offers THM in Children and Family Ministry, I was so happy. Meantime, I was just applying for a university in South Korea as well. And I decided to tell my dad if I can go there because I told him it's going to be expensive. The expenses will be a little higher. And when I told my dad, whether you want me to go to Korea where it's full funded or you want me to go to US. And my dad was full on to US. So, he was the one who pushed me and every day would encourage me. And that's how I started to pursue my degree here. Yeah.
Wow. So even though you knew that the United States might be more expensive, your dad was still in your corner. So like, hey, just go ahead and apply.
Yeah, exactly. We are not from a very wealthy family, but my dad, he's a man of faith. He always say, God will provide when you pray hard. So even when I knew that it was hard for him to say yes, but he just, gave me a calm answer saying that, don't worry about it. God will provide at the right time.
Wow. Now, how many siblings do you have, Shen?
I have one elder sister, one elder brother, and 2 younger sisters. Okay. So altogether 4. But the eldest one went to be with the Lord in the year 2021. Yeah.
Sorry to hear that. Now, yet with the way you're talking about your parents and stuff like that, I have a feeling low-key that you might be the favorite in the family. Would you say that's true? Can you confirm?
I think my dad loves all the daughters, like my brother too. He's the only son, but I think he really loves, his daughters. But my sister, the one who passed away, was his favorite. Yeah, but me and my sister, second one, we are pursuing our theological studies. So we want to help our dad in his ministry.
Wow. Do you say like your other sisters also in the ministry as well?
My eldest sister, the one who passed away.
Yeah, like it sounds like ministry was really in your family life,
Yes,
right?
exactly. We love serving God. We love church ministry. My sister, the year she passed away, if she was still alive, she was about to pursue her theological studies, her MDiv, in the year 2022. But unfortunately, she went to be with the Lord. But yeah.
God. And then I know you were telling me a little bit about how maybe her passing also kind of impacted you in certain ways. You might kind of share us a little bit about that?
Yeah, exactly. If I look back to my life, I was already, doing my MDiv and BTH. But until those grieving period of time, the hardship, the suffering, sicknesses that I went through, it really humbled me to the fact that I needed to, just rethink about what God was calling for. And I decided to really know what God has planned for me. Yeah.
Sounds like she played a huge impact on your life.
Exactly.
Now, not only a little bit about Shen, I know we're getting a little serious here. Is she also in a theological seminary, right? But you're also a writer as well. I heard that you have a devotional out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a professional writer like like the rest of the people, but I do love writing.
Right.
I think, people say that when you go through so much in life, you pick up a hobby. And for me, it was writing. It became part of my life. I like to scribble words and I like to just maintain my journal every day. So with those inspiration and with the, relationship with God, I started to, love writing. So it was last year, me and my co-author, we decided to come up with a Christmas devotional book.
A Christmas devotional book.
Yeah, exactly.
But not only that, you also have, I think, 2 more books in the works. Is that right?
Yeah. So...
I can't even write a paragraph.
No, everybody can write.
You think?
So, currently, I'm writing on my 3rd book.
Your 3rd book?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I just recently started to write the 3rd book. It's about prayer and grief. And it's mainly for the parents who have lost their, kids at a young age, or maybe the kids who have lost their parents at a young age. And it's about prayer, the importance of prayer. And the other book would be, we are still working on it. So it's a testimonial book. It's about my sister who passed away. Her life was just 27 years old. She had a journey. It was, if I would say, it was really quite short, but we decided to come up with a book of her with the thinking that it would be encouragement for the youth. And also, she loves painting. So we are going to, put up all the collection of her, display all the collection. And also, she loves writing. She was very talented. And the whole time growing up, I always thought, I kind of feel jealous because she was so talented in every area. She was loved by people. I would say she was like the best of the best. And people always say, there's a saying that, the good ones doesn't live too long. They, their life is short. So, but I'm very grateful. And the one that I'm already done is, it's a gaming book. So it has like 4 characteristics. It's, I'm focusing on 0.
You say a gaming book?
Yeah, exactly. So it's...
like a video game?
No.
Oh, sorry.
It's for parenting and it's for Sunday school teachers. So I'm focusing on like 4 characteristics.
Okay.
Social, emotional, that's combined, and mental, and also physical and spiritual. So every characteristic will be implemented with a game so that, parents can work out at home or in churches. And I'm focusing on 0 to 12 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. There's such a rich history in your background with like ministry coming in, and you talked a lot about your sister's passion, right? And just some of the involvement and the impact from that as well. I'm not sure if a lot of people would have that strong of a conviction or a calling, right? And maybe a lot of people might be even confused about like, hey, like, is this something I want to pursue, right? Like, what kind of helped you find that aha moment, like that clarity? Or what would you say to those people who are kind of confused, like, hey, this is what helped me through?
Well, I think it differs on like individual. Everyone has story. Everyone has a turning point in life, where God called them. And to me personally, it was, people keep on asking me that question when they, sit down to talk with me about my experiences in life, the things that I've gone through. And I will always say, just humble yourself in the presence of the Lord and seek His presence. Because there is a saying, today I was just reading a devotional. I was doing my devotional. It's from James chapter 4, verse 8. It says, like, come to the Lord, come closer to God, and He will come closer to you. So I think, in short, that would be the best answer for them to know their calling. If they come closer to God, they will know their calling well.
Gotcha. And your decision to specifically choose to study theology, guys, come on, excuse me, theology in the U.S., right? Was it a hard decision for you spiritually or emotionally?
Exactly. Like, I think financially was also added there, sure. I would say. Yeah. Well, like I said in the initial stage, that I never had a U.S. dream, to come here. I never thought about it, but it was God who have brought me here, and I'm really grateful and humble for that. But I would say, yeah, I did went through, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, financially. Oh. I was, battling with it because it's hard, to have a dream to come here, and I'm already grown up. I know that my dad said he will provide, but with the fact that we are already grown up, we don't want to depend on them, even a single penny, we don't want to depend. And I was already working for a year, so I knew how hard it is to, get our paycheck and spend money on ourselves. So it was really hard, but it was God who brought me here.
Mm. Yeah, the financial piece. Oh, there was a way you could maybe get a forward advance on those treasures in heaven.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd be rolling, man. Just the sound of wow, swollen. Got 3 Devo books. What was the application process for you applying here? Was it easy, hard? Like, I hear a lot of people face challenges.
Oh, well, my mom and my dad keep saying that. I think it was like all God's plan, for you to, take one step, one after the other. It was God who was just helping me on and on. But, I just want to, appreciate one of the specific prayer warrior, he's a pastor, and he's more or less like a mentor for me. When I decided to, go for my further studies, I really needed someone's help. So I was like, Pastor, can you just pray for me whether, South Korea will be better for me, because that was my option, or whether studying in India would be better for me, or whether, anywhere God is leading me. And I was just browsing, but I didn't tell him that I was, also keeping an option to come to U.S. And, he's a prophet, so he knew what was in my heart. So when he was praying, he said, hey, just go for U.S. Because I needed to give my IELTS exam if I'm about to study in South Korea. And if I'm going to apply in U.S., I needed to give my Duolingo exam. So, I don't want to spend much money or time. So I just obeyed him, and I said, okay. And he said, God's favor is upon you. It's going to be hard. You're going to face a lot of trials, especially during the visa interview. And it did happen. And every time I want to give up, pastor's encouragement will always pop up. And I'll be like, okay, I need to pray. I need to calm down. Because, I was getting frustrated with, booking the visa slot. It was really hard. And also, taking the interview, waiting, and my passport was not reaching on time. So it was really hard for me. And I prayed. I needed some help from people. And, even coming here, it was a little hard for me. But, God was still there. And I'm really thankful to Pastor for helping me and praying for me and all the people who have prayed for me, my church members, local back at home, and everyone.
Gotcha. Is there one thing in the visa process that you would maybe say to someone who is applying that, hey, this is something I really struggle with, that you wish you knew?
Pardon?
Like you said during the visa process, or you had some complications, right?
Okay.
I guess, is there a specific part where if someone told you, hey, be prepared for the XYZ, that you might have had an easier time with?
Yeah. I think it was some of my professors and also, some of my seniors who told me that, just be prepared for anything because you may, I was so scared that day, even for the interview, thinking about how it would go. And I was so scared of rejection. What if I get rejected and go back home with the sad face that, I'm not qualified to go to U.S. But deep inside my heart, I knew that I want to try it. So, yeah, there were people who were saying this and that, but I just, my faith towards God was so strong that I knew even if it didn't turn out good, even if I get rejected, God has purpose for me on the other hand.
And you mentioned also earlier that you were working previously, right? And you were coming in maybe later in your life. Do you think some of the previous ministry experience helped your application process?
Well, I think it depends on, the individual, I would say. But to me personally, because for me, I'm more into practical ministry, like children and family ministry or youth ministry, church ministry, more practical. So I would recommend anybody who is more interested in practical ministry to get some experiences back home, or maybe, go to a mission field or get involved in a church or work somewhere around and get some practical experience. Because for me, I would always say that experiences cannot be purchased. It's so expensive, whatever you go through, it's like nobody can buy, or you cannot, buy from someone's experience. So I would totally recommend anybody who is more interested in practical ministry to go for, some experiences and come here, so that in a way you will be more, for me, sitting down with my classmates who are very matured and who are, already moms of 2, 3, or maybe who are already started working in ministries. For me, it was so helpful for me to sit down with them and share about my experiences. If I didn't get any kind of experiences or training from back home, I think I would be so dumped and I would be so helpless.
Wow. So it seems like if somebody was kind of considering hey, I want to go abroad, study in the U.S., maybe you would say, go in the field, get some experience, and then maybe start the application process.
Yeah,
is that
exactly.
correct?
For me, I think for women, it's a little hard to stay a little longer. I personally think like that, because if we keep on pausing for a couple of years, then we age so quickly.
I think I aged too, but
I mean, but at least I would recommend at least a year. Take a year of break for a year or two, or I think it depends on the individual. I would say I don't want to be so strict in you need to take an experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's hey, you shouldn't do. You're not. It's almost like you're this is not what you have to do. But I would highly recommend. It's just a diplomatic answer.
Yeah.
I really love it. Now, what do you think is? It sounds like you had so much experience, right? And then now here in the seminary, how long have you been here now?
It will turn a year.
A year?
On July 29.
Gotcha. And from that experience, what do you think that people back home often get wrong about ministry here in the U.S.?
Well, I think that's a good question. I never really thought about that, but I think maybe because of different beliefs and faith and, maybe denomination varying from, one denomination to the other denomination. I think, or maybe because of, like, I don't want to like demean some of the churches, but maybe because of the cultic group or stuff like that, maybe the faith, the beliefs is like a little different from Baptist faith or from, Presbyterian or from Pentecostal. Maybe because of diverse, Christian faith. I think it's intimidating for people back home to really rely on, like the culture here in U.S.
Gotcha.
Christian faith.
Yeah. Then after you kind of going on that, what would you say would be a normal kind of day in your life with all that's going on so far?
In a day or in a week?
Yeah, like, day or a week, yeah.
Okay.
Between like juggling your ministry, right, and then your work and your studies, I'm sure must be a ton.
Exactly. Well, like Monday to, the whole weekdays, I would just give it, a short gist of it. So I wake up in the morning. I'm an early bird, so I would wake up a little early, and I would always have my devotion. So I do journaling. I have my prayer Celtic group, like Celtic prayer book that I usually follow, and also I will have my prayer time with God. So that will be the first thing first, and then I will have my breakfast, or sometimes I skip breakfast because I don't get enough time, and I would go for class, for work. That's what happened from Monday to Friday. And on Wednesdays, starting from like 4 p.m. to until 9, I would say, I used to volunteer in a church, an American church. So I would be there helping out the kids. And I'm almost done with my work, my 20 hours work and my classes from Monday to Thursday. So I would always love to, and I crave for that. I always take prayer and fasting every Friday.
Friday?
Yeah, until 12. Then after that, I would...
12 p.m. or a.m.?
12 p.m.
Okay, wow.
So, and then after that, I will clean up my room, just everything that needs to be done. And Saturday, I usually go out, hang out with people, or, relax, just enjoy my life. And Sunday is full on. It's from like 7:30 a.m. until 1. I'm like serving in the American church with the kids. And from 2:30 until maybe 5:30 or 6, it goes. I also serve in Nava Church as Sunday school teacher.
Wow.
So that's my weekly schedule.
I just got tired just listening. Like, oh, holy cow.
Yeah, but I do enjoy it a lot.
Do you do?
Yes, exactly.
Wow. Again, this treasures in heaven. I feel like yours would be like this much. Mine would be like, we're like this much. How do you... I feel like, people oftentimes come here and they get so busy, right? Like there's so many things going on. And sometimes they might lose focus of their relationship with God. But like, what do you do to really keep that relationship grounded? Not just because you're doing like the church ministry and stuff like that, but like that own personal stuff. Like, what do you keep in mind that, hey, I know I am in ministry, but I need to separate the activities from the intention?
I think one thing that I learned after coming here is like the most important thing is time management.
Okay.
Like I will say like that's the key point of living here in US. You need to really be wise in using your time. So I have a whiteboard in my room.
A whiteboard?
Yeah.
Wow.
Where I just divide my schedule, that I'm going to do this today. So if I need to go to the library and study, I have to do this. So I divide my time. And also like spending time with God would be, I was always impressed by how my dad would love praying, my parents and my siblings as well. But my dad, he wakes up early in the morning and go to church at 4 or 5. And he would, after his prayer devotion is done, he would go to like some of our church members and go for home visitation. So I was always impressed by how he does that every day. And also, I was so touched by one of the reverend who shared in one of his preaching that we as Christian, we need to give 2 2 hours and 30 minutes every day to spend time with God. For me, I cannot cope up with that sometimes, but I make sure that I'm spending enough time in the morning and at night. So it's like, like an hour. And I think it's very important for us to, stay connected with God because, like you said, we may be so busy that we may get drifted. It's not just in US. I think it's even in like India, cities and stuff like that. Like we are so desperate, we need money, that's for sure. But sometimes we are so desperate about the worldly pleasures or like the incomes that we get, the finances and, our comfort zone that we tend to forget who God is and who is the provider of it. So I would, encourage everybody to always, keep your focus in God because God is a priority. He created you, so you should also prioritize Him. Yeah.
Good. No, that's so true. And I loved how intentional you are with like the whiteboard and how you're making like actively taking steps in terms of time management, right? And it seems like even your dad like set a good template for you on how he kind of modeled his walk. I think the thing about the United States is that the pressure to always keep performing, right? It's almost like you never get a break. Like the bills come like here, like next week after next week, and even people with good intentions who come here to study theology, right, might slowly start to drift apart. Not because like they're a bad person or nothing like that, but because just the pressure of being here, like just trying to survive, like you said.
Exactly.
So
can I just share something?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
It was just recently, like I think it was last month. I just met someone. I'm not going to disclose the person name or like his job, profession, but he's a full-time, someone who works. He's a chef. So
A chef?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I asked him like, which church do you go? And he said, well, I'm also a Christian, but I don't get time to go to church because his work is like from Monday to Sunday. So I'm like, I really wanted to talk more, but, I don't want to be, someone. It takes time for me to know someone and, I want to encourage them. So I was just praying in my heart that, like sometimes we tend to think about money, our job, prioritize more, and we tend to fail to connect with God. Like, how can a person skip a Sunday, with the thinking that I need to earn money for my family rather than building his faith to, because he's also a father. And I would say, if I was in a place, I would, or if, I was someone close to him, I would encourage him to, prioritize going to church, building his faith, and keep his family grounded.
God. And you said that happened recently.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're just out here in the streets, like slaying, like, hey, come on, get that spiritual faith up. No, I love to see it. But not only that, I think you also, when we talked about earlier, talked about fitness and also health in ministry, which I feel like a lot of people really don't touch on. But that's something you feel passionate about.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like this semester, our children ministry class and our classmates and professor, we have been really dealing on how, and we went to a director's retreat. So all the directors, children directors, they came on a meeting and we were talking about how important it is to have, to be healthy physically. And to me personally, like back then, until, I came to really know who God was, I was like very much into fitness. Like I go for exercise. I make sure that I'm like, putting a well-fitted dress. And I was so cautious about my dressing style and stuff like that. But I knew that it was like not to impress so much about God, but, to just impress myself and,
So
think about how we...
Yeah, I'm a baddie.
Not exactly, but, like there was time. But, after I came to really know who God was, that perspective really changed because I was so sick and I was desperate to be, to be healthy physically. So I don't work out now, not with the thinking that, I need to always be fitted, wear whatever I want, but I make sure that I'm physically healthy in order to serve God because I think sometimes we, have the tendency that, oh, it's okay, eat whatever you want, or do whatever you want. But sometimes when we are eating, sugary products a lot, or something that's not healthy for us, then it becomes a hindrance for us to serve God. So my point of view is like, when you are healthy physically, then you are, out there serving God, with the full passion, because you need energy to go out and talk with people, to serve, to be in mission field or anywhere.
Well, and was there because you feel so passionate, was there a catalyst or maybe something in life that really pushed you?
Yeah, so I've been using the word 2021 a lot, but to me personally, it was the turning point of my life, because in the year 2021, I was so sick that I was almost about to die. I was unconscious for almost 2 weeks. And everybody thought I would not make in life. But my dad, he was a man of faith. He said, my daughter is going to survive. And everybody was praying for me. And I came back to my sense. So I was taken back to hospital. And that's where, I started my medication. And the doctors, they detected that the typhoid virus went to my brain cell, which caused neurological disorder. So I was almost sick for almost 8 months, confined in wheelchair. I could not move. I could not talk. I could talk, but I could not I was physically handicapped. And then I was just intaking liquid food. On medication. I was so desperate to be healed. Every day, every morning, the first prayer that I would pray is God, give me the best health, and I will give my best to serve you. So I was so desperate for, to be healthy. So that made me, that even today I'm so cautious about what I eat, because after I eat, I'm oh, this is not going to be healthy for me. So I'm going to be more strict in my diet. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. I feel like just after you dropped that, I drank a Coca-Cola today, and I feel like the worst person right now. But wow, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Do you think that also with your experience in ministry, I feel like sometimes, and as a missionary kid myself, my parents were in ministry, there's almost an expectation that you have to be emotionally perfect, right? Even though you're having the worst day of your life, you always have to smile and keep going. Do you feel like there's too much of that expected from pastors or people in the ministries?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think we're so pressurized. I'm sure you will also, feel the same, that, because you're also an MK and I'm also a PK. So I think people have the tendency, the mentality that we should always be, the perfect ones. You should always go to church, every day. If you miss out just one Sunday, people oh, where is she?
Right.
Where's the pastor kid? Or you should be the one. For me, I don't know how it here, but for me, we are the last one to leave. We wash the dishes, and whenever there is social work or stuff like that, we have to be there the whole time. And it's sometimes, for me personally, it's so stressful, and it's very toxic for me. But with time and with my relationship with God, I don't find that being toxic anymore. But yeah.
And for someone who might be kind of experiencing that toxicity in their life, is there something that you would say?
Exactly. So it was back then, I think it was 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I met some of the pastor kids. We were on a round table and we were discussing about how, blessed we are to be a pastor kid, and how frustrating it is to be a pastor kid. So there were, we were all sharing our plate of, problems, ups and downs that we were going through. And yeah, it's it's really hard, to be honest, but I would encourage all the viewers to, to consider and to be more sensitive, in the sense that, don't expect us to be, like Jesus, we're not perfect being, but, at least give us some space, give us some peace of mind, peace of heart, that, we are also we are also like you, and don't consider us like we don't sin, we are all sinners. So I think they should take away all the negative things and consider us just like that.
Gotcha. And you said some of the toxicity was one of the biggest reasons why you ran away from church ministry in the first place, right? So then, like, what exactly changed?
Well, coming back to my ambition, I always wanted to run from church ministry because every time, I was the one who needs to, read the Bible passage. I needed to pray or, do something, every time. And for me, sometimes, we want to be fun. We want to have some fun time with our friends, but we're like, oh, you're a pastor kid, your dad will come, or, you should be like, you should not do this, So I'm like, I get frustrated with all of those restrictions in life, but I'm like, it's hard to express right now, but that's why I decided to never be in church ministry, and I decided to go for military.
So the military?
Yeah, exactly. So my grandfather was like he was in military. So my dad really wanted me to go for, military. So I thought of, like going for a, maybe a military officer, something like that. I was interested. So I was in National Cadet Corps. That's how we call it, NCC in Netherlands. So they give privileges to women as well. So I was there for almost 7 years.
7 years?
Yes, exactly. And after 12, I wanted to take away the burden of my parents, like the financial things that we're going through. So I decided to, go for aviation. So I was like full on, preparing myself to go for air hostess. And it was in the last minute where my mom, my present mom was like really sick. She was going through a lot. And I made a covenant with God that, hey, God, like, if you heal my mom, then I would serve you. But if you don't heal my mom in this week, then I will not serve you. And God literally answered my prayer in that week, and my mom was getting better. And I didn't want to, break the promise. So I said, I'm going to serve God. And that's how I started to pursue for theological studies.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to imagine you with the gun, like, she could be slinging guns, but she's slinging Bibles out here, so. Wow. Military for 7 years?
No, it's just a training, okay. When you're, in your high school, you get some, it's like a part-time, you get to, of course, we were out there for shooting, we go for marching and stuff like that.
So you can shoot too?
I did try, every time there is an NCC camp, I do try.
That I would have never expected that. So wow. Yeah, thank God literally that you're in the ministry field.
Yeah, exactly.
I know there's some differences that you mentioned while we were talking about maybe church in Nagaland versus church in the United States, right? What do you think are some of those core differences?
Well, I think there's not so much of differences from back home and here. It's all about faith. It's all about how you're committed and how you seek God. But obviously, like, the infrastructure and the resources are so much way advanced here than back home. It's, compared to my local church, it's very limited. So sometimes I would be like, oh, how I wish my church also have this, when I enter, the centers of children ministry. I would also wish my local church back home, the kids have the privilege to use all these resources here. It's very limited because of the finance and resources and stuff like that. But I would say that the Bible study, like, one of the differences that I would say is, like, here I kind of find very intentional in the way how they lead Bible study. So 7:30, I was there, like, for the last semester, I was in a church where I would do Bible study with the finishers. So that's like 80 to 90 years. So I sit down with them and we do the Bible study. And we have the Bible study for an hour. Then I would go to the young group again. And then we'll go to the big church. And that's how we are doing right now with the children and, go to the big church. So they always have the Bible study before they go and gathered in the big church. But back home, it's just a big church. Like, I'm sure like some of the independent churches are doing like some sort of Bible study, but basically for generalizing, a lot of churches back home, they have just one big church, one whole congregation of church, and they separate the Sunday school. But here it's like, even if it's like 5 hours, 4 hours, it's so good. But back home, if we tend to sit down for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I feel like people complain a lot, and I don't like that.
So you're saying the structure here where like, because I think back home, like Sunday school is only just for the kids, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But here with even there's like adult Bible study.
Yes.
People almost expect it like, hey, you go to the main service, you get your, general main preaching there, and then you go to your Bible study group, young, old, doesn't matter. And then you get a deeper dive.
Yes.
And so that's something that you would bring back to Nagaland, you think?
I would definitely, love to bring those good things back home if we can really work on to. But I think some of the limitations would be maybe, our culture is getting better. Our Nagaland state is getting better with the diversity, and also people are getting more educated. But if we are to imply all those things back home, then I think we're a little laid back, because what I find it very interesting is even if a person, is not enrolled in a theological seminary or don't have a theological background, they have the eagerness and the, craving to really learn the in-depth of Bible. And they really know better than me. I'm like, sometimes I get so amazed how they question, how they, bring some relevant topics in our discussions. And I'm like, wow. And I would be like, is he from a theological background? But he'll be like, no, he's from a secular. But I think the authenticity of how they are living their faith is very impressive for me. And Wednesdays, they have like full-on like Bible studies group, like you mentioned. But back home, we have like, for my local church, we have prayer fellowship. And then we have Saturday, we have youth group. Sunday, we have the morning church and the evening church. But here, like, they focus more on the Bible study. And I think it's so, for me, I'm like someone who loves to read Bible and, discuss, debate, or like talk about issues and stuff like that. So I think Bible study is so interesting for me, to the fact that we need to be always grounded with the Bible, always, even if you want to have, even if you have a question, always come back to Bible and you will get answer.
Gotcha. Speaking of debates, there's a debate going on where maybe in Nagaland, where we send our best and brightest to, go study engineering, right? Or maybe go be a doctor. And maybe if they're like struggling academically, they're like, hey, you know what? You should try the seminary, right? How do you feel about that?
Well, every time this question arises, I get so frustrated, to be honest, because it's like, they're just throwing, a ball or something on our face, thinking that, that, we come from a background where we are dumb, or, we are not bright student, and like, oh, theological students, like, they're not so bright. They consider us like something like that. But I was so impressed with one of my junior, I would not disclose the name, but one of my junior and some of the juniors that I've met, they cracked like top 1, top 2 in their competitive exam. And they still come, they decide to come to study theology. And for me, it's one of the biggest encouragement. I will always share the story to people. It's written in the Bible, when you give your best, God will give you the best. So when you sacrifice something, when you want to give something to God, we should be giving the best of the best to Him. And likewise, I think many parents don't have the mentality, because practically, if I would think, I would also, consider about how they're facing, because not every people come from a wealthy family, like parents really want us to be stable financially as well. So parents dream of like, oh, I wish my daughter or my son becomes a doctor or an engineer or, crack NPSC exam and, be financially stable. And they think, I would support them as well in a way because they're also thinking about a future. They're concerned about a future. But what if your son or your daughter really wants to pursue, theological studies? Then don't limit them, don't stop them, but rather encourage them. And I would say, from a young age, I think parents should be very intentional in the way how they raise their kids, so that they would, when they grow up, they would be like, oh God, like, oh mom and dad, I want to serve God. I want to be like that pastor, I want to be like that Sunday school teacher, wanting to serve God. So I would think, parents should be intentional about it, but don't force. Whatever they want to be, just let them go, but help them to be God-fearing at all times.
Gotcha. Now, this is just kind of a thought experiment here, but what do you think would happen if we sent our brightest students towards theology, right? Like, what do you think would change in our state?
Wow, that's something I need to think about. Considering, not the brightest, I would say, but if we, send the best of the best, like the best character, the best personality, like being very God-fearing, always active in church, always, humble, who's always humble or who's always desperate to know God. I think if, those candidates are sent to a seminary for theological studies, I think the world will be so good. Like there won't be a lot of corruption in the church, like the politics game that's happening in the churches around. I think it will be like heaven, like Jesus leading the disciples.
But just to clarify, because in the earlier point you said the brightest, but now you're saying best character-wise, not intellectually?
No, yes, the brightest, and also I would combine with, good characters, obedient ones,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying, yes, they're smart, and they...
Yes, because sometimes, now it doesn't happen much, but back then, I think it was like, I think it will be bloomers or like,
You're talking about the boomers?
Yeah, boomers, like, I think it will be, in those period of time, I think, if their son or probably I would say, the son, because men are more mischievous than girls.
That's a wild accusation.
So like, if your son is more, addicted to drugs or alcohol or stuff like that, parents have the mentality then, oh, I think, my son, if he goes for a theological, studies, that he would change. It's like it becomes like a rehab, we're like thinking that, my son will change. And God does work, and they change, through professors and through people who are really working and intentional about their, their day-to-day life, and intentional about their, about how they want to, help this person to change. But I would say that that parents should be, sending the best, like I mentioned, like good in studies, good in their personality, first, in their personal traits and stuff like that. But sometimes, we think that, if we send the good ones, oh, he's very obedient, he's good at studies, I think he will do well in his life, and he'll be successful to become a doctor or an engineer, because he's like, even if he go out from Nagaland, even if he go to Delhi, or even if he go abroad, he'll be always, be the disciplined one, and he will not be off track from the worldly things. But I would say, send the best to the seminary.
Gotcha. And then, as we're coming to the end here, if you had one piece of advice, right, for maybe an 18-year-old or only whatever age they're starting, right? It's their first day of seminary. They go to campus. What is one piece of advice you would give them?
One piece of advice I would like to give is, don't go to a seminary because you want to explore the world, to be a missionary. I think, sometimes some students have the mentality that if I become a missionary, if I go for theological, studies, then maybe I can explore the world to be, as a missionary. Or maybe, like I will get more favor from people. I'll be more respected because, like the pastors or like theologians are, in a way, we get more respect, But I would say, know your calling. If you really know that God is calling you to pursue and to serve Him, then be diligent in your prayer life, be committed, be humbled. And I would say that it's not going to be an easy journey to be in a seminary. My dad will always say, the time you are in seminary, it's a time where you're in mission field. You're going to face a lot of ups and downs. You're going to see like, oh, is this really happening in seminary life? You'll be shocked by a lot of things. But if you are committed, if you are determined to really serve God, then nothing can stop you. So the top priority will be humble and God-fearing.
Gotcha. Wow. That's so awesome. Shen, thank you so much for being here today and just kind of showing us that like our calling doesn't just always mean comfort, right? It often takes courage. And just hearing your journey about like healing, legacies, and especially like the faith legacy of your family and just your honest faith with things has definitely been refreshing and such a blessing for me. And I'm sure it'll be a blessing for the viewers watching as well.
Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching another episode of Hillstalk. If you enjoyed listening to Shen and her incredible journey, please continue to like, subscribe, and share it. And stay tuned because the next one's just around the corner. Catch y'all later.